We will be live in 3 minutes. Minutes. Like, subscribe, and share. Be sure to comment for live answers during the podcast. We will see you in studio in 30 seconds. And now for the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Out There Winning, with James and Akeem.
Hey, thank you all for tuning in. Please go ahead and like, subscribe, and share.
In the winner circle with us today is Kristi Bowlin. Be sure to like in the comments and just welcome her to the podcast.
Welcome, Kristi.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Glad that you're here with us here in the winner circle. If you don't mind, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey on where you are today?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm from Danville, Kentucky, and I grew up there. My mom was a paraeducator in a child development center, which caters to kids with special needs in preschool. And I graduated from there, went to UK and Moorhead, and got my master's in LBD and vocational counseling. So that's kind of what I do now. Is I work for Fayette County Public Schools in the special education department, and what I do is offer employment training for kids with special needs in their last 2 years of high school.
So you've kind of just, followed in your mother's footsteps.
Yeah.
So growing up, your mom, she had to be a huge influence on you. What kind of stuff did you guys do to kind of nurture that?
Well, anytime they would have picnics or things that I could go help with, I would go. And then I also worked with the special needs class my senior year. I didn't get to do not really co-op, but like within the school, I was kind of the teacher's aide in the special needs class there.
Okay. So when we're talking about, special needs, obviously there's in the educational field, right? There's many spectrums, right, of special needs. Could you go into some detail about those different types of maybe levels or spectrums or whatnot?
Well, I'm fortunate to have worked with, I feel like all of them, although,
Sure.
every kid, every person is different.
Right.
But when I got to teach for 3 years in elementary school, I actually had K through 6, and I worked with both MSD students, which is kids with moderate to severe disabilities, and also with LBD students who are learning and behavior disorders. So it seems as time goes on, autism has become more and more. There's just more of an awareness to it. I don't know what you guys, but even if I think back to the times I was in school, I didn't know what autism was.
Sure, right. I mean, when we were younger, I guess we weren't looking for it either.
No.
And we don't see the stuff that we're not looking for. Like you buy a kid, you see a kid, right?
Yeah.
So there's that type of stuff, I think, too. But also, is what makes it more now? Is there something that's going on? Are we eating stuff that's making differences?
Now you're getting into this.
I'm just saying there's a lot that goes into
it.
But if it's more, there's got to be a reason there's more.
I'm sure there probably is. But I think also it's just the awareness, and then we have social media, we have the internet, we have all these things that we can get all this information that when we were in high school, grade school, we couldn't get that stuff.
Right.
Those kids were just different. We didn't know,
Sure.
But yeah, that's become more and more. I don't want to say prevalent, but we're more aware of that now, but it's a great thing because with awareness comes, we can adapt to them.
Right.
Adapt to us, all the things.
And I because we, personally, I coach kids with I have a kid that both my kids play sports.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every team that we coach, there's a kid with autism on there, and it's not necessarily the same kid every time,
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of inclusion because I don't remember playing sports with kids with autism growing up very much. There's a lot of inclusion there that's kind of that I see because I look for it, I guess, but
yeah, I totally agree. When I think back to the sports I played, I don't think there was anyone.
Right.
Even in and not even in like the fine arts things I did, I don't think there was anyone. But it makes me really happy that we've come so far that everybody's blending, everybody's including all the things, and all these opportunities are coming available to all kids.
Right. And when we talk about obviously inclusion and the trends of being more aware, obviously as we spoke, maybe we wasn't looking for it or maybe we wasn't well aware of it.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of misconceptions with special needs. Do you ever encounter a lot of those different types of misconceptions?
Oh yes, definitely. And I'll talk about the church part of it here in a minute. But it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And because what I do now is I take kids out of the building.
Right.
Because what I'm doing is preparing them for adulthood. I want them to be able to be independent, work on their daily life skills, their soft skills, their social skills, their work skills.
What's a soft skill? I'm sorry, I'm dumb.
No, you're not dumb. That's kind of a new term. It's things like soft skill would be like, it includes social skills. And it includes things, reading people. Yeah. They kind of intertwine. How to act out in public, all those things. But now that I take these kids and do employment training with them, we get out of that building, you're in the real world.
Right.
And so not only do you see how people react to them, but you see how they react to people.
Sure.
And they react totally different outside the school system that they do inside the school system. It's kind of like how, I'm not going to say better, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how your own kids are usually better than somebody else.
They recognize the rules differently.
Yes.
Mom and dad aren't there.
Yes, mom and dad aren't there, but they actually act better. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes we're surprised, like, oh, I'm glad they did act that
Yeah, I
way.
get a lot of that in my house.
Yes, me too. But you know, and we get out there, and it's kind of like the employers and everybody that's around, when they hear what we're doing, they're just like, wow, you know, I didn't realize. You know,
Right.
They didn't realize the capabilities. They didn't realize the different adaptations that we could make, you know, to make work possible.
Right.
All those things.
Yes.
You know, for me, when I walk in somewhere like at the movie theater,
Yeah.
you know, the guy taking the tickets, you can tell he's, you know, special needs, and it makes me happier
Yes.
to see that person taking the tickets because they're out there, they're interacting, and I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, and they should be. It's funny you said that, because another thing, back to the question Akeem had in the beginning, one of the things that really, you know, I feel like when God puts a calling on your heart, you don't always know why.
Right.
My three big things are people with special needs, music, and animals. There was a Chick-fil-A in Fayette Mall, and there was a young lady who had Down syndrome who would stand up there when they would give samples.
Mm.
And it just touched my heart every time I saw her, and I thought, that's awesome.
Right.
You know, she's so good at it. She's all the things, and that was one of the things too that just makes me think back, that had an influence on what I'm doing now.
So, you know, you touched on a little bit, you know, being in education, right? You know, as an educator, you know, myself being in higher education, you know, we think that, you know, special needs is folks with, you know, severe or whatnot disabilities, but you know, it's a really broad spectrum, you know, as far as, like you said, from LBD or learning behavior disorders, from ADHD to all these others. Can you elaborate a little bit on how you feel, you know, the education system, are schools you feel like meeting a lot of those needs?
Well, I can only speak for Fayette County.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will toot their horn till the end of time, just because of all the different programs that they offer. And they can do that because they're well funded.
Sure.
You know, it's a big city and all the things, but it is just the most wonderful school system as far as people caring and really wanting what's best for the kids. Our logo used to be, it's about kids.
Right.
It's about kids support system is what our board office used to be called. And I just love that. I still say that, you know, anytime. It's like, well, it's about the kids, you know.
You've touched on it. I think a lot of, you know, especially in the educational world, you know, folks that get, you know, sent to school and those things, it takes funding and it takes the right people to be in those situations to, you know, to educate not only the kids, but, you know, to take it even a step further with those special needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel very fortunate to have been able to do the things. Now, it wasn't an easy road. I went to graduate school twice, got pregnant both times. I was married, but I got pregnant both times in graduate school. But it's fair bottom, but anyway, it wasn't judging. But
nobody would judge you.
Okay.
No, not on Facebook or YouTube. Definitely not getting any comments about that.
I know. I got scared for a second. But
look at there, Will Whitney's on.
Is he?
Yep.
He would judge
Will,
me.
for subscribing.
Will would judge me. But you know, I thought, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. And we lived very frugally and made things happen. And I'm just so grateful to now be working on a farm with people with special needs out of Castle.
That's awesome.
You know,
Tell us about that. That's real. Now, when you came in today, Kristi told me, she said, I smell like goats. I've got dirt all over me.
Yeah.
I come from work, and we appreciate you coming here straight from work. We really do. But tell us about the goats and all the stuff at the castle.
Yeah, the Kentucky Castle is wonderful. It's in Versailles, for anyone who doesn't know. And I know as a kid, I would drive by it all the time. Where I'm from Danville, we would come that way to go to Lexington. But it's wonderful. It's a hotel, restaurant, and then we have a working farm in the back. And the Fayette County Agriculture School, which is Locust Trace, they get to run that farm. So I work closely with Tony Myers, who is the ag teacher from there.
Okay.
She has students who come work.
Tony Myers was my ag teacher in high school. Equine, yeah.
Yes, she did work with me.
Tony Myers, hey.
She's my buddy. Yeah. Well, she's the one who lets me. I come in with her, and I get to. She'll have a few students from Locust Trace come, but then throughout the day, I rotate every day kids in and out from different high schools, and they come and they have to run that farm. They have to plant the garden, they have to harvest the garden, they have to take care of the goats, chickens, llamas, horses, donkeys, sheep, everything we have. That's what they have to take care of, you know. And the castle, it has to look good.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean,
business.
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
So this is every day, but it's wonderful. Yeah.
Y'all got any like ornery goats that like try to run into you and stuff and headbutt you?
Yes.
I had a friend as a goat farmer, and we look at him, we'd say pepperoni.
Funny thing is, his name's James.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
there you go. Look at you goat.
I held the goat. Whoa.
His name really is James, but I will be honest, they're all a little ornery, but I think it's funny. You know, the ornery are the obviously that's why I'm friends with you. But yeah, it tickles me.
What are some biggest challenges that you have faced, maybe through your career or what you're currently facing now with working with special needs or programs?
I will say, I don't consider really anything I get to do with people with special needs a challenge at all. I just feel like that part's such a blessing.
Sure.
I am so blessed by it at work, at church, all the things.
Absolutely.
But as far as the biggest challenge, but it's nice to see things are coming along, like where I work in the community, is, you know, getting your foot in that door.
Right.
Like we said before, people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And I don't think they have ill intentions.
Sure.
You know, but if I go and I present the program to a new business and I'm saying, hey, I work with kids with special needs, we do job training, explain all the things, they kind of have a look on their face now. Well, what about this and what about this? I was like, no, you don't understand. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't do it.
Right.
And then and we've never, you know, it's always a successful.
Right.
Sometimes they get hired, sometimes they move on to different programs, whatever. But I would never consider any place I've taken kids to be a failure.
Well, maybe for you, because a little bit about you is, you know, yesterday I asked you for a photo, and you don't even take selfies. You're pretty selfish.
I know. So, especially at 48, you don't take selfies.
So, what do you see out there as a struggle like that you see people have? Like it's not a struggle for you,
mm-hmm.
but you see people out there that struggle with a certain area. You know that.
Like the students I work with?
It could be the students. It could be just, you know, out in the communities, you know, whatever the perception type deal that people struggle with.
Maybe with the kids, sometimes, like the kids I work with, I see the struggle with them. Sometimes they don't even see their own capabilities. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of them, and not all, but, you know, they all come from different backgrounds.
Right.
All live in different parts of Lexington, go to different schools. And sadly, you know, some of them, you know, drugs are part of the family, poverty's part of the family, all the things. I just think that the biggest thing is getting them to realize what they can do. Mm-hmm. Because there's this wonderful book, I don't know if you may have read it, Kim, I don't know, if not, you should, in LBD. Ruby Payne.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I love it.
Hold on. Why do you automatically assume I don't read it?
You forgot you're the goat.
Sorry, yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I'll eat the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly. But it's kind of just summing that up real quick is sometimes when people grow up in poverty, they don't know how to come out of it.
Sure.
They don't know how to, and their family.
Cycle.
Yeah, it's an endless cycle, or just like their family's like, oh, you're better than us. Blah, blah.
Right.
And that's even the thing in the special needs community, you know? And it's like they don't realize what all they can do. And it's so nice with programs, and a lot of schools have the program that I do, that we give them that opportunity to, like, hey, don't think that when you graduate, you can sit at home and play video games all day. That's all you got, you know?
Right.
And even if they don't want a paid job, hey, we'll take them to the Humane Society, we'll take them to the, you know, there's McLeod's coffee shop. There's a lot of places that will accommodate them.
That's good. What we've got to do real quick is take a quick commercial break and go ahead and go with getting us paid here.
Out There Winning podcast is brought to you in part by Dubby, your taste buds' favorite energy drink.
Follow your bubby over to Facebook and click on the W. Get a 10% discount with our code Out There Winning. Great Yard Prime Wash, pressure wash, and soft wash services.
Destroy and grind, one house at a time. Contact Great Yard Prime Wash at greatyardprimewash.com.
Pool Brothers. Turn your backyard into a dream oasis.
Complete pool installations from start to finish. Contact Pool Brothers at poolbrothers.com.
Thank you and welcome back. We are here in the Winter Circle with Kristi Bowlin. Previously, we were talking about kind of what she's doing now with work. Now we're going to hop into one of her philanthropies, something she started. I'm very familiar with it, but we want to talk about Joy Prom and what all that is. So, Kristi, if you could tell us, tell everybody just, what Joy Prom is. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Joy Prom is the best day of the year. That's what I always say when I'm announcing it at church. And this year was our 10th year.
Wow.
Woo! 10 of them.
Wow.
Yes, is that silver anniversary? I don't know.
If you're looking for smart stuff, don't look at me.
That's right, James. But it is a prom that the church that James and I go to is the Now Sterling First Church of God that we put on every April, and it caters to individuals with special needs. Gosh, ages tiny up to 90 years old. We don't have an age limit. It's free. We have a live band, a DJ. We have free dinner, and they can bring their families. And it's always, we use a theme. This year it was a formal, so everybody got to come, and we take donations from the community.
Awesome.
So girls who've had prom, homecoming, those kind of things, weddings, and then men can bring tuxes, suits, whatever. We have free fitting days, and they can come get those things, and they can wear them to the prom, and they can keep them. But it is, it's a wonderful, wonderful event. And this year we even have people from Grayson and people from Pikeville. And we got a lot of compliments, and it really means a lot when people say, this is our favorite one to come to. Because we're not necessarily the biggest.
Right.
But we know how to love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, when you're putting on this Joy Prom, tell me how it came to you that, man, we really need to do this.
Yeah.
What brought that upon you?
Well, our church went through a difficult time a few years ago. And I was just sitting around with a friend of mine, and we were like, all right, we've got to do something. We've got something positive needs to come out of this. And I had been working with Brewster McLeod. He had some of his students, and he was the special needs minister at Southland Christian Church, who started the Jesus Prom. So I just thought, we could do that. Maybe not on as big of a scale,
Sure.
but we could do it. And of course, our church and this community, people never let you down. You say you need something, you're going to get tenfold. So that's how that came about, and it's just gotten bigger and better every year.
How would someone get involved in what you do, or even volunteer for events that you put on, such as the Joy Prom?
Oh, they can just contact me or the church, or go ahead.
How many volunteers? Like I've been there. I volunteered every year. I've been
Yes,
to 10 of them.
yes.
So I love it. It's when
Oh,
she says it is the best day of the year. It is for me.
It's well advertised. I'll tell you that.
And, but how many volunteers? I have no clue. I've never asked. But how many volunteers are a lot?
I don't know. I honestly do not know. I would say a good 100 if you counted our youth and everything. And that was the most touching part to me this year, was more and more of our kids in the community, especially since a bunch of our youth ministers have come together with this Ignite ministry they've come up with. So many kids from different churches came out. And whenever we do our prayer and instructions before the prom in the sanctuary, I always tell them, and I especially tell the youth, it's like, guys, you got to put your pride aside. This night's not about you.
Right.
You got to come outside yourself. You got to really just get out there, act silly, have a big time. They blew me away. I mean, I'm in the band, so I could see everybody, and I mean, just tears in my eyes, just at how awesome they were.
That's extremely, it's really heartwarming, especially in today's society.
Yes.
Right, with kids, you're trying to get them out of their room or trying to get them off the phone or off the tablet, trying to get them involved with sports or whatnot, but to literally, as you mentioned, kind of put themselves to the side and say, hey, I want to help somebody else and bless somebody else. And
they even told my daughter, they texted her that night, her phone was blowing up. They were all like, this is so much better than homecoming. Yes. This is so much better than school. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, like you said, that was all about someone else.
That's right. Yeah. Put somebody else first. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to hear.
So to get back to the question, I guess, because I kind of got sidetracked. I just had a question about.
Okay.
But so tons of volunteers over.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's probably 30 boxes of pizza worth of volunteers.
Yes.
I've seen that.
I ordered 30, so yes, I know there was 30.
That's good count.
Yeah, that's funny.
So these volunteers, what are they doing? Because there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. So what do they volunteer to do? How can people, if people are helping, what aspects are you doing?
Yeah, and we love to have people. You don't have to go to our church to help people. Okay. You just have to have a heart for it.
Right.
And not everybody, some people just give monetary donations. Some people donate food, water. They donate their time. We do, like I said, the fitting days. His wife Amy actually is in charge of that. So she has other people that come and help when the guests come to get their clothing. We have to set up for all that, and we have our decorating committee. So they weren't months ahead of time preparing, because our decorations are always phenomenal, as well as our food. And those people in the food, they're constantly getting donations and they're preparing.
Right.
And they also go to businesses. There's a lot of businesses in the community that donate to us. Yeah, we couldn't do it without a whole village.
Cheer Squad. Tell us about that. Red carpet.
Oh,
that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. We always roll out the red carpet for them. Years ago, I had students who did job training at Centos in Lexington, and they actually donated a bunch of red rugs so that we could have them, and we still use those. And we have the railings, so the paparazzi stands on the outside, and that's usually the youth and like the crazier adults. We get out there to yell, and they walk down, and each youth, high schooler or college age, will grab their arm and escort them. And they'll escort them down, they'll take their picture, and then they'll help them get their food and get seated. And it's awesome. We all clap and scream.
Oh yeah, and these people, not all of them are just walking. I mean, they're dancing, they're strutting. I mean, they're out there.
It's like the Met Gala.
They're out there yelling. They're out there yelling their name. I mean, it's legit. It's fun.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's my favorite part.
So with all the prom going on, with the escorting and the entrances and things like that, share one of your most memorable moments. I know you said you've done this for over 10 years or almost 10 years now. What are some most memorable moments that you can share with us?
Well, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, because this is turned out to be, there's always blessings in our hardships. The second year of Joy Prom, my sister passed away, I think 4 days before. And her funeral was on the day of Joy Prom. Mm-hmm. And that was tough, because she passed away suddenly. But Chris was in the band that night. I was, in charge of Joy Prom, all the things. Not that it couldn't have gone on without me, because it could have, But I went home. I told my parents, I was like, because my sister actually did the same job I did. So she was in the special needs, the education department too. But that was the most memorable, because I got myself together. I felt the peace of God. I went out there, enjoyed the entire night, because I thought we're gonna let that go, celebrate what we need to celebrate tonight, because she's in a better place.
Sure. So
there really is reason to celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's probably that, and then every red carpet. I mean, you just can't beat it. I mean, I would encourage all of you to just come stand outside and watch them.
Yeah, if you know when Joy Prom is, and you want to have a good night, just go watch the red carpet. Spend an hour out there as those people are walking in, and man, it is lit.
Yeah.
The next morning at church, you have to forgive us though, and Dave said it well this year, as he said, our bodies are weary, but our spirits are full.
Yeah.
and that's how you can feel about it. But it was wonderful.
What advice, would you give? Because obviously, this came about you and you wanted to do the Joy Prom. Like, what advice would you give someone who would be interested in doing something in maybe their location?
Oh, please do it. And they are spreading, and Tim Tebow has his version, A Night to Shine, is in every February. And a lot of churches are jumping on board with that, and it's basically the same type thing.
Okay.
But you absolutely do it, and we're happy. We would help anybody that needs help. As long as you have the people that have the heart for it, that's all you need. And I don't know if I'm allowed to jump onto this, but even with our bridge ministry, that came to fruition 3 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, it started off. It probably started off 3 years ago with
Yeah, it was right after COVID. Yeah. But that had been in the works for, and I just saw that Southland, they have a special needs ministry. So 12 years ago, I actually met with Mark Carney, and I was like, because I saw a need in our church, but it wasn't the time yet. And now that I look back over my last 12 years, I'm like, well, look how much you grew, Kristi. Look at what all you went through and where you are now. And it actually took COVID, which was not a good time at my house or for me. I don't do well with being locked up, but it gave me time to realize, and I saw how it affected the kids with special needs. And that broke my heart because, all this NTI and the Zooms we were doing, I was just, you could just see they were just so devastated. That's when I went to Dave and I said, I want to do this. I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought, well, I know what room we could use. So if I do the room, and then I got Ashley Toy, she's an occupational therapist. I said, can you come and help me make the room sensory friendly and all the things? It just went from there. Again, the church just went.
And so we're talking about it now. The Bridge program is probably a little bit more than just a church service.
Yes, it is.
Tell us about like all the things that go with that.
Yeah, well, Joy Prom, of course, is a huge part of it. But every Sunday morning at 10:40, we do have the Bridge Room open. But the purpose of the Bridge is to bridge those gaps between parents with special needs trying to get connected in the church, kids with special needs who need to be in the church, and then bridging that gap, all of this with Jesus. And so we have a room that is sensory friendly, all the things, that if the kids, I say kids, but there's really no age limit, but if the person with special needs wants to come in there, because maybe the service is too much, they can't sit that long, maybe the music's too loud, and they don't like, whatever, they can come in there with us. And what we do is, I'm not going to say we have no rigid schedule. I don't treat it just like a classroom. Right. I have expectations. We put the live stream of the service on the screen so that they can hear it, they can see all the things, because I want them to become familiar with, this is what my church does at this time. Right. Because eventually, I hope they can all go in the sanctuary. And we do have the back row reserved for anybody that wants to. Of course, you can sit anywhere you want to, but we keep that open in case anybody just wants to sit back there. But it's, we have that every Sunday, and then Wednesday nights we also open it if anyone needs it. But we also do things with them socially. Like this Saturday, our rented TKs. That's their favorite. So usually every couple months we try to, and Tammy gives us a heck of a discount. I so appreciate Tammy. Yeah, awesome. She is awesome.
Shout out to Tammy Lockridge at TK's Gymnastics.
That's right. So, but we're going to go there, and that's always a favorite. And they can bring friends, they can bring family. I don't care if they drop them off. I'm going to watch them, whatever. And we've also, our pool here, Patrick Manning gives us a heck of a discount on that too. And we usually rent it out one weekday during July. And that's a huge hit. Right. We go bowling, we go to the movies. We'll just have what we call second Saturday socials. And that's usually one of those events, or else we'll have it at the church and we'll set up games in the gym and we'll open the bridge room, movie, whatever. Just a time to socialize and do something. And everything I'm telling you is free for people in the bridge.
That's awesome.
No cost.
So as you're expanding, because obviously it's growing.
It is growing.
Do you see yourself having to find another location?
No, well, maybe another room. We do have the gym. No one's in the gym at that time, so we can even shut the doors, and we have the gym. But we have the youth center too.
Right.
There's nothing going on during church at the youth center.
So you got plenty of room, plenty of, if you outgrow, you're able to grow.
Absolutely, and we are growing. We've grown a lot in just the last couple of months. We got to see some parents Sunday of a boy who has special needs. They just started coming about a month ago. They both got baptized on Sunday.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I just thought, that's part of the deal of why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's great to see a lot of the, our businesses and things here, in Montgomery County, being able to just, just be able to pile in and just be able to help, kids at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I remember back in, when I was growing up, it's not too long ago, but it seemed like, you had more of a collective when it comes to the community. And I'm glad to really hear about that and see that still going on, and being able to impact these lives of these, young people.
For this ministry, I feel like if I asked any business for anything, they would probably try to do it.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Cattlemen's actually contacted me this year because we forgot to contact them last year, and they were really upset that they didn't get to donate for the Joy Pump.
Right.
That meant a lot to me because I'm like, that's a pretty big business. So they were like, hey, we take pride in this. We don't use chicken.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that means a lot to us too.
That's sure,
awesome.
Absolutely.
It's awesome that they want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What other current projects or initiatives you have maybe have started or thinking about even in doing?
Well, I haven't really started any. We also, this last fall, we had the privilege of having Dr. Temple Brandon come to our church. And in case people don't know who that is, she is a lady who has autism, but she's brilliant, and she's done magnificent things in the cattle industry and agriculture. And she travels around and speaks and all the things. And we got to have her at a conference at our church this past year. And the lady who set it up, her name's Karen, and she's hoping to start a business here in town that's going to offer different things, kind of a day program to an extent. And so I'm hoping when she gets that going that I can help her with that, and we can kind of intertwine the bridge with what she's wanting to do. So I'm really open to anything. I don't think by any means that I know everything that I should be doing for this community, but open to anything for sure.
No, it's awesome to see you out there doing all these things, and there's especially when people work a full-time job, people are ready to come home, kick off their shoes, jump on the couch, watch a little TV, and relax. And it seems like this is a whole take a shower,
put some jammies on,
especially after fooling with some goats, right? But being able to just jump in and relax, right? And it seems like you just boom, 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 just keep going and keep pouring into the community.
Well, I try, but I will not say that I do this alone. I mean, there is a village,
Absolutely.
Like our church especially. It's like I said, sometimes people don't know they're needed, but as soon as they do know, by gosh, they're on it. And I have, and I actually got 2 more volunteers just today that said they would start helping on Sunday mornings.
Okay.
So we have like 8 or 10 people now that want to rotate, and it's phenomenal.
Makes it easy when you got help.
It does, and my husband's, he was making fun the other night because if I'm at home, I'm usually asleep.
Yeah.
He's like, you're either going 100 miles an hour or 0. And that's pretty much the way I run. So.
As you continue to build, as you continue to grow Joy Prom and things like that, what are some of your big goals? Like, what's the ultimate goal? Do you have an ultimate goal, or is just you want to just keep growing it, or?
My ultimate goal would be that everybody felt included, just as a big, generic, and ultimate goal. And that means, as far as church, Joy Prom, all the things, that they try it, and try to come to these things and be a part of it. And of course, I want to grow it, but not because I am not a numbers person.
Sure.
Sometimes people will be like, how many people are at Joy Prom? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't ask.
Right.
Because I live by the thing the verse in the Bible that says 2 or more.
Right.
And that's what I said from the start with the bridge. Like, if one shows up, we're going to be in there. Right. All it takes is one, and sometimes there was just one. It's been pretty consistent. We'll have like 6 or 7 now consistently on Sundays. But there's many times, there's just 1 or 2, but I by no means thought it was a waste of time.
Yeah. It's always about impacting the lives of somebody else.
Well, and the thing too, you go from 0.
Exactly.
You go from 0. That's where you're starting, and to start something, and and really it's a specialized niche area.
Yeah.
Right. You're wanting to help people with special needs. And a lot of people don't even think that they can attend a church service because of
their loved one.
Their loved one. Yeah. So when you're doing that and you're starting that thing, I mean, the word's out now, right?
I hope so.
And so I mean, growth is only going to happen.
Yeah. And this year we're also hoping to do not hoping, we're going to do this Bible school at our church. It's going to be very inclusive. I'm going to be there. The bridge room will be open, but we're going to have different adults with each, I guess it's grade level is how they do it, with each grade level, so that, if there are kids in their special needs who need a little assistance, hey, there they are. If they want to come to the bridge room, say worship's too loud. Yep. It's not for them. Come to the bridge room during worship and then go back with your group. We're going to do everything we can to make it inclusive. We're going to do a huge color run next Wednesday. Pastor Chris always.
Man, those are fun.
Oh gosh, I'm kind of regretting.
Don't have your mouth
open. I know, and even if they don't want to run in the color, it's okay. We'll go over there in the field. We'll run around. And I think also, I hope Tyson Pitts is listening, but we are hoping to do like a softball day, because I love the Miracle League in Lexington, which is the league for people with special needs, softball, t-ball type stuff. We want to do maybe a Saturday where the softball teams come in and kind of mentor those guys.
Sure.
Just for fun.
So real quick, before we wrap up, we need to do a quick break for our sponsors. And then we'll get right back and kind of finish things up with Kristi Bowlin. Thank you.
Out There Winning podcast is brought to you in part by Dubby, your taste buds' favorite energy drink.
Follow your bubby over to Facebook and click on the W. Get a 10% discount with our code Out There Winning.
Great Yard Prime Wash, Pressure Wash, and Soft Wash Services.
Destroy and grind, one house at a time. Contact Great Yard Prime Wash at greatyardprimewash.com.
Pool Brothers. Turn your backyard into a dream oasis.
Complete pool installations from start to finish. Contact Pool Brothers at poolbrothers.com.
And we're back in studio with Kristi Bowlin in the Winner's Circle. If you're just tuning in, Kristi is a winning in the special needs programs all over our community. She works in Lexington for the school system. She has a Joy Prom. She is doing a new ministry at the church called The Bridge. And we are coming back where she was telling us that she wants to play softball.
No, I don't want to play softball. You all have tried to make me play softball every year I've been at church. It's not going to happen. It's not my sport. But I would come on the day we did a miracle type thing. Yes, I would definitely do that.
So we were talking about the Miracle League where we have softball teams come in and work with the special needs, which is I think would be a great program. A great introduction maybe for some who have never played before and want to play there. As we continue to talk about special needs, right? What lessons? We always learn from people. What lessons have you learned, maybe from working in special needs area, or from somebody with special needs?
Oh gosh, countless. The main thing is that you look at most of them and just how carefree They don't worry about a lot of things. I know that I worry about, get caught up in those kinds of things, and they find joy in the little things, or what I call the little things, but really aren't. They're very important things. And he does not have special needs, but this just made me think of it. We had a man in our church, Don Cassidy, who had his 90th birthday, and they did a drive-through. And Ellie and I went through and told him happy birthday Saturday, and just to have my own child come home and say this, she said, Mom, seeing Don, how happy he was, he had like tears in his eyes, just people coming by hugging him and saying happy birthday. She said, it makes me feel so bad about the things that I get stressed about and the things that I care about. It's just also petty when all he wanted was people just to come see him. Mm-hmm. But just little things like that, just it puts life in perspective, especially I mentioned before when my sister passed away. A lot of them were like, well, and I took 2 of her students because we thought maybe they would do better because they really were hurt from the loss of her. They would do better if I took them. And I like to think that they did, and just the constant reminder, they would be like, well, she's with Jesus. It's like, why are you upset?
Right.
It's, it's just and I'm like, well, you're right.
It's that simple.
It's not sad. It's
right.
Okay. Yeah, you can learn something every day. That's for sure.
And probably a lesson in patience.
Yeah, and again, my husband, he gets so tickled. He's like, you have no patience for anything but animals and people's special needs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? James knows, he runs sounds.
No patience with me.
The sound guy, sometimes I have no patience.
So, as we continue to, your work with, special needs and so forth, like, how would myself, you're an educator.
Mm-hmm.
How, what other programs are out there besides like the school systems, maybe going to church services, as special needs prepares for the adult world, right? Or how does that transition work?
Yeah, and like I said, work is not for everyone.
Sure.
I firmly believe that. Not everybody is cut out for that. But that doesn't mean that they can't have a meaningful adult life and do things to contribute. So if there are students who we know it's just not their goal, they're not going to work, there are things they can volunteer in their church. They can volunteer with, the Humane Society, libraries, Salvation Army, Goodwill, all of God's Food Pantry, or God's Pantry, or around here, we have a food pantry too.
The Food Coalition.
Yeah, Food Coalition. Anything like that. I think sometimes people don't realize that most businesses, they'll be glad to have your help. If you just ask and want to come volunteer. I think that's a huge thing. And of course, I think there's so much with churches. There's really a lot to offer, especially in Lexington. Of course, I'm most familiar with Southland because of all they do. But it's just, there's just so much. And I think Lexington, of course, being a bigger city, there is more. But I don't think you should count out things here. I think there's plenty of good people, businesses that would love to have help.
There's small towns everywhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I guess you would say, exclusive to big cities.
No. Or go clean up the park. You know what I'm saying? Just do something where they can feel like they're contributing and give somewhat of a routine and schedule.
Some purpose.
Yes.
Somewhere to show up.
Exactly.
Now, the Joy Prom, there's been one already this past year, and it's a yearly deal.
Every April.
Mm-hmm. So every April. Yeah. Have you all decided to do anything that maybe to extend, maybe not just a prom, maybe like a homecoming?
Well, that's one because there was this man, his name's Daryl Tipton, and he's from Moorhead, and he was one of the guests. He came up, he was fully, blinged out cowboy, head to toe. And he came up to me and he said, Kristi, I hear you're in charge of this. He said, I think you need to do this at least twice a year. That was right after I'd come off stage, and I was like, oh boy. But I do think we have discussed things like maybe a carnival.
Sock hop?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, people might kill me if I did a whole nother dance. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's fun.
It is fun, but
there's a lot of work.
There's a whole lot of work. Yes, but no one, it's not work people complain about.
Right. Gotcha. Now, if I understand correctly, during your Joy Prom, which I find very interesting, and I really like the fact that you all do it. You all do not do a prom king or queen. Is that correct?
No. You want to hear a sweet story? Well, Willoughby came up to me about a week before prom, and he said, "Kristi, I have a good idea. You mentioned me." He said, "What if we had a prom king and queen?" And I looked at him, and if you know Bodie, he's got a big old heart.
Yes, absolutely.
So I knew I had to be careful how I said this, so he didn't get his feelings hurt. I said, "Bodie, that is an excellent idea." I said, "But how in the world would we choose?" So he sat there and he said, "I think we'd have to make every single one of them king and queen."
Right. That's awesome.
I said, "Well, yeah, I think you're exactly right." So he and I are going to work on how to make that happen. You know, just some crowns or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
He'll make it happen.
Oh, I got a feeling he will. Yeah, he was.
When you're doing things like that, that really shows a really, inclusive, community and crowd. So yeah, that's
even the kids, like Bodie, he's how old is he now?
7.
He's 7.
right.
For him to be thinking, that makes me so happy.
And at Joy Prom, Bodie was putting together the glow necklaces.
Oh yeah.
And we were handing
them
those
out.
So
yes.
he
Everybody
found
can have a job.
to do.
Absolutely.
Then he got up on stage and danced to one of the songs that they did.
Yes, they came out and did worship with us.
Right.
Yes,
right.
that was awesome. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, as obviously as Father Tom and so forth, takes over. My father would have coached till he's obviously in the grave. But what are like as far as the legacy that you're?
Mm-hmm.
Are we hoping that this continues and
remains? Absolutely. It's just kind of like anything that you take on, especially as a volunteer. It's like, I know one day I won't be too old to sing on that stage.
Sure.
But that's okay because we got a lot of talent
right.
in that church and more coming, I'm sure, from the community.
Seems like there's a lot of support.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then it's kind of the same with the bridge ministry. It's like, I have a heart for it, but there's plenty of other people too that have a heart for it. And you're never alone. I think that's the biggest thing. Again, our church is so loving, and I'm not saying that other churches around here aren't, but it's the love that they have and just want to help. That's what keeps me there.
There's an atmosphere.
There's an atmosphere. Yeah.
And it's because we go to the same church, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We're not perfect, but it's.
And I think nobody claims to be perfect.
No,
and that helps too.
I mean, obviously, it seems like there's a lot of success going on, a lot of community support, a lot of backing. And I would like for you to just go ahead and take this time to maybe give an email, maybe not your phone number online or whatnot, but maybe a way to contact you to be able to be able to contact you, obviously, for the future of Joy Prom or being able to volunteer and help.
Yeah. My email, is there a way to make it show up, or do I just say it?
Yeah, you can say it. We'll post it. But
I'm not sure it's in the comments or something.
Okay, it's Kristi Bowlin at Yahoo. And also, if you want to contact, like I said, we won't put the number online, but I can give you the church number. It's
859
498-2973. And if you say you have questions about the Bridge Ministry or Joy Prom or anything, special needs ministry, they'll give you my number and put us in touch. And we'd love to have more participants, more volunteers, all the things.
And what about if somebody was thought that it was a cool idea what you're doing with the Bridge program, and this podcast is going out everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So what if somebody thought that was a cool idea and just wanted to pick your brain on that? Could they contact you with that too?
I would love it because we got to spread it. I'm so glad that Brewster was in my life and that I saw what he did and the impact it made because it showed me, hey, that's a need and I can do it. And it's not because I'm qualified, but I felt called to do it. And so God took care of the rest. And I think that's true for anybody. If you're called to do it, yes. And I'd be glad to help in any way possible.
As we get closer towards the time, I just wanted to, make sure that everyone that's out there, if you hadn't had an opportunity, go ahead and press that like button. Make sure you go ahead and continue to share and subscribe. to our YouTube page as well. Again, we have Kristi Bowlin here, who works extremely close with our special needs community here. It's Joy Prom, our Bridge program. And again, if you want to contact Kristi, make sure that you contact her there at the First Church of God.
First Church of God.
Right? And it's Kristi Bowlin.
Kristi Bowlin
at yahoo.com.
KRISTIBOWLIN at yahoo.com.
And again, you don't have to be, you don't have to go to our church to do this stuff. You can do our socials. You can participate in any of this. We want to build a community.
We want to be inclusive,
absolutely,
not exclusive.
Absolutely,
that's awesome.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to our podcast, Out There Winning, with James and Akeem. And remember, whatever you're doing in life, be out there winning.
Out There Winning podcast is brought to you in part by Dubby, your taste buds' favorite energy drink.
Follow your bubby over to Facebook and click on the W. Get a 10% discount with our code Out There Winning.
Great Yard Prime Wash, Pressure Wash, and Soft Wash Services.
Destroy and grind, one house at a time. Contact Great Yard Prime Wash at greatyardprimewash.com.
Pool Brothers. Turn your backyard into a dream oasis.
Complete pool installations from start to finish. Contact Pool Brothers at poolbrothers.com.